I feel like this is probably going to be the most competitive map, and Overpass is not a map they should have won. MiBR only, the core of MiBR only beating Astralis October 1st, 2016, the last time
it's been
they're
forever.
able to do it. That is an unbelievable amount of time.
Let's see if they can do it a second time tonight, because in doing so, they again would defend that Blast championship they currently hold on to.
Jacket's coming off, Connor.
All right, let's do it.
This.
Let's do it. He's standing, folks. That's how you know it's real. Utility looking good for Astralis still. Double smoke grenade. No kit. Utility looks even better for MiBR. And nothing's been forced out of their control. I mean, we've seen nothing from Astralis. I don't even know if their bodies have been spotted.
Yeah, look at the tension now between the offense and defense. Pretty gonna jump right into it. The boy band of players standing in the hallway, ready to triple peek.
Just blinded, holding and burning, so there he goes. But he actually gets a fadeaway headshot in the process, dropping the bomb and delaying the plant, but still not. Oh my, I was gonna say enough, but Device still gets it done. With one headshot, he's good. Reload as Zipex just goes barreling through smoke. Glaive tried to do the same. Zipex took his place, and then Glaive just bailed.
Yeah, he's calling it early, it feels like. I don't think that he's gonna go for the big wraparound, or is he? He's making his way down Banana now. The bomb hasn't been planted, so obviously there's going to be the seed planted in his mind that maybe there's a chance here, but I think he would have sold himself a bill of goods if he tried at this point. So now he's actually just going to call it, and you can see like the decisiveness in those unwinnable situations. Just call it quits. Take the CZ into the next round. Try to knock down an SMG. It's worth way more money, and don't try to win a retake versus 3 players with 5 bullets in a CZ. Sage advice for anyone who would think that is possible. And MiBR with a clean exit. And Dupree looked like he was going to wide swing, at least get 1 frag, but MiBR were so incredibly ready. Pistol rounds. It's been touted on the desk time and time again how important they are. And this is one of 2 last remaining. That could potentially do it. It counted for them on the second half of Overpass to help them bring them back. There's no way, you know, there's just no way without it.
Looks like Device even could have actually shut down that pistol play. I mean, I was amazed he even found enough time to hide behind the box, but when he peeked back up, the Glock ripped his hair off. It did lead to this, a T-side pistol round of all things. Heavy, strong utility. Astralis still capable of the upsets in this one. Anytime Astralis has grenades, I wait for it.
And people talk about the grenades constantly. Now on Inferno, on Banana, it's a lot about the multiple ways that they use them for different portions of the map. A little bit of damage dealt as they know that MiBR have started to encroach upon Car and maybe even towards the choke point, but they got away clean. 20 health, 25 health between 2 players. It's nothing to scoff at, especially with how dangerous Astralis are with pistols, but it could be worse for sure. So now they're going to take that and reset. Still no info on what site might be stacked. It's always the outstanding fear on Inferno to try and figure that out without risking too many people.
Now this is when the smokes come into play, right?
Yeah.
You start burning away from the clock. I mean, we've got 45 seconds left, and Dupree and Device still hang on to those pieces of utility.
Oh, have they actually cycled back players to refresh the smokes? They've got 1 more, which means that the 20-second mark can throw another.
Oh man, it's not to see that just out in time. He's blind, but regardless, he's dropped bomb. How many times have we already seen MiBR fall short because of time? This cannot be one of them, but it is looking good. Device and Zipex with the sidearms. Cold's gonna try to bail them out. 15 seconds and 4 opponents still to find. Now it's down to this. It has happened yet again. Coldzera just simply does not have the time to try to fade away, but he doesn't even survive. Astralis with an upset again.
Yeah, they put out the momentum like a finished cigarette, instantly stealing it back, taking control of the economy, putting themselves in the best mind state possible, and all of that talk about how important of a pistol is obviously comes contingent with a thought that they're going to steal up the next 2 rounds as well, as we can see a masterful use of of the smokes that they had remaining, and it seemed like they really were focusing their attention on the B side. Even though they were overstacking A, they left all their smokes on Banana.
Yep. What's wild as well is you take into consideration, normally those smoke grenades are constantly refilled. Dupree gets pushed right as he throws his down. It's actually an underhand up close, and that enables him to just kind of work the sides of it. He's got a little bit of cover. Once he gets the first kill, they don't know if he's retreated or if he is still there. And I think he did a fantastic job of continuing to burn off the crucial seconds from that 30 to 15-second mark. That's a big difference. You can leave it down to the wire. Sometimes that's actually very powerful of a play, but that's an example of when it comes back to bite you.
This is one of the more bare bones ecos where they have armor, they have pistols, they don't have much utility. However, they're relying strictly on their crosshairs and being able to hit clean headshots and steal a 5v4 in an unlikely scenario. But those opportunities seem to be passing, and Astralis, now that they've got their own 5v4, don't have to worry so much about the tension and the stress that is rotations on Inferno. The key point here is just that long speedway from B to A and how rounds can end with a clean double entry.
Cusp of this site, though, that's a great flashbang. 3 arms go up. Right. Spray damage through. Glaive just classically spamming shots, dealing so much damage. And therefore, this round is pretty much complete before they even get close.
They have no choice. There's nothing that they can do, really. And now another free round, basically. They have a lot to lose, but they won't have an easy time losing it. Full blocks here for MiBR as they make their way out through the apartments into, we'll see what happens, but one of the tighter choke points that it's more attractive for pistols is obviously these hallways. It can be easy to get out with the right flash as well, but an AK here to stop anybody for getting too many ideas is Dupree.
Just really shutting down any opportunities whatsoever. Nobody needs really substantial damage. Beautifully done. Astralis just moving through the cleanup, right? Doing what MiBR couldn't, converting those first few rounds.
Now we are in round 5, and finally, MiBR can try again. They are in their comfort zone, but they already lost a round where they definitely had the firepower advantage, obviously denoted by how much money is spent in a round, also known as equipment value for the layman, the average matchmaker.
Yeah.
This is cooler.
I think it's much better. This is true. Molotovs, we saw that consistently.
Yeah, time and time again. We know that this is how Astralis like to set the tempo, just reroute the offense, and Zipix just seeing it toss a grenade past him. Not knowing there are so many people up close.
He looks like a statue. Unshaken at the bottom of mid. His eyes don't even move. For good reason. Finally, when Stewie offers up something, he immediately takes it. A gun round. So we've got Astralis just cornering and boxing MiBR in the bottom of mid. They've given them no map control other than apartments, and even that was slightly delayed because of early presence from the Danes.
Not dying
left.
Oh yeah, not dying early. Key point to consider to every single round of T-side Inferno. And that's a box that's left unchecked for MiBR, but they are still given Banana. It doesn't seem like there are going to be any more surprise grenades to come and stop them from coming up any farther. This Molotov to feign an attack on B, leaving some utility behind, weakening their attack on A, but at least they pulled one rotation in a site that would almost always have 4 with the correct information.
Coldzera then hits a crucial shot as well. That's a big one. It's still going to leave this defense inside the site, and Magis with a good angle using the bicycle to just get his head over the wall. 20 seconds left again. This is a high-octane situation, big pressured moment, and they're not making any further progress. They have a slow
That's an embarrassing way, time running out when you're intending on taking a site. And I can't kind of synthesize why based on what we've seen, but had the entry to get them to go.
And now we're just getting to the bully stage.
Those rounds slip, not in an event like this in the finals. There's just no room for it.
Yeah, the final stage, the last hurdle.
3 rounds. Like he is always a front runner, and he's not known as the most aggressive player, but he just knows how to strike that balance so well, and that's why he's never talked about as being one-dimensional.
And not given a shot on Dupree, who does just go parading and soaring through mid. This is a big op duel, whoever gets this kill.
I've seen Device hold that angle for 40 seconds to see nothing and then fall back. It's very rare that he'll finally take that last step. And now that he's regretted it, we probably won't see it for another 3 years.
The next time MiBR beats this core.
Yeah. Good point. That's a real knee slapper.
Thank you. Don't slap yourself too hard. This one's not even close to finished yet. Smoke. Obscures vision. Just a second later, Fern actually gets very close, and Glaive is just inviting him to challenge this. He's going to take one shot and then fade off immediately, trying to reposition. But the reason he's slow is because they tagged him. Not that that's going to stop him. He still manages to just deny for anything else. Still, Fallen gets the best of him in the CQC situation. Zipex is going to try and use that smoke so he can fixate on Banana, anticipating the split. But the big question is the A players can't rotate because they don't know if or when MiBR will rotate back to the other side of the map. Zipex, he's unsure as to their commitment.
Absolutely, the most salient part of the round. Just denying these A players from safely being able to rotate, but Zipex throwing the smoke, delaying the time. 19 seconds left. If he gets one kill, that could be it.
Yeah, just needs to deny this plant. He's going to get that Hopper first. He's very good at isolating these kills, repositioning and engaging in 1v1 duels. Somebody has to, absolutely has to pick up this kill. Like with the 2 players down, that's it.
Wow, that's it. They actually pulled it out. In those last remaining seconds, they finally were able to do it. And now we have a new round here for MiBR where they are back on their feet. So, great round from Stewie. Be aware of that flank. And again, just as Connor pointed out, the value of having the arch split to B is the fact that it's so unclear whether or not it's safe for the CTs to be able to come through lane or wrap through arch, knowing that it might be a situation where they come through library and then they regret that, so they've got to wait until hopefully the bomb goes down, but it still came close. Now that option is up for grabs in their playbook. You potentially reach back in and do something similar. And that's a pain point for Astralis. West now taking a new position. Off the wall on Banana, flashed off his position, but not before he throws an incendiary over the wall. He's actually not too afraid to stay here now.
Smart play, right? It delays it just a little bit. They are still adventurous, but in doing so, they nearly lose a life. Device, if he hits that shot, it's a numbers game, and instead it's Zipex Slane, not able to hold the corner this time. Tarek comes to join his teammates, and this is an all-in from MiBR on the B side. And they're doing it at a sooner time than they usually do. Device goes to the top of the coffin's fully exposed. Blade's gonna get flashed right in the face of Stewie. And these kills are coming in so quickly. So rapid was that run in here from MiBR, and the attempt from Astralis was to just make things confusing. And instead, they're all dead.
Yeah, and honestly, you want to fight fire with fire, MiBR are happy to play that game, right? If you want aggressive entries, or you want to be aggressive on the defense, they're going to get in your face. They're going to be happy to take that fight. And we do see a couple of players in the red because they were dinked. You know, this is a situation where the AKs on the entry overpowered the M4s simply because of the more damage per bullet. Now, it's put MiBR in a very powerful position, however, even though they are down 3 rounds after this, Astralis don't have much money left over. And although they are able to, oh, you know what? I might be mistaken. It seems like on top of these 2 rifles, they have actually built up quite a bank. So even after losing that round, because they had such a clean 6 rounds, they're still going to be able to fight.
And that has been the case.
Maybe a good sign if you're fragging, or if you're winning, and Magus isn't fragging. And again, that very expensive Molotov, just to funnel the terrorists in the early round into the positions that they want them to be in. Directly on top of it, misaligning one of their grenades, and not actually doing the damage. So this is nice for MiBR.
Oh, close one in this case. Frag goes up and over. Again, another one of those situations where you could have lost a man, but just barely get unscathed.
Yeah.
This is big for creeping forward. Glaive catches him though, so the potential flank is coming down. Zipex from a similar corner. He's going to try to unfold the same situation. He's spotted. Nice boost over. They clear close, and sure enough, they found him.
That was so tricky. They threw the flash over, and it makes it look like they're going to try to wide swing through the smoke, and instead they go for this like more softly calculated boost, and Zipex is just trained on the angle.
A little too honed in. Smoke coffins. Glave's waiting for some time to strike, and Stewie shuts him down a second time. It's not the first we've seen from Glaive attempting to just rush through, and now watch Device as he just slinks back into spawn.
Proceeding back to his teammate Magis, who just hasn't seen that much action up here on the apartments. And that is such a successful round from MiBR. I mean, this is definitely looking like a real game all of a sudden. And, well, it's a surprise to be in map 3, let alone the thought of MiBR actually taking the series, but that reality is becoming possible.
Has to be cautious. I mean, they could still very well put this down, and he's got the kill first, but the commitment is what costs him.
And how they use it. So it seems like they're definitely using it to funnel a lot of attention towards B, but MiBR did a great job of putting it.
That's the one thing with that consistent Molotov we see from Astralis. It does expose somebody early, and if the timing's there, if the spawns are right, you've got to be extra cautious. You can see Magisk, he almost got caught that time. Would have been an easy casualty.
That's true. You can't pick your spawns, and so if your A player doesn't have the right spawn, it's not like a pug where you can just pick the best spawn to go through it. It's the same guy every time, and sometimes he can be way in the back. There, they got ahead of it. Now they have a different angle on Banana.
Forward stance, but no smokes actually being used here from Astralis. Normally when you see these forward positionings, it's because they've got this bottom that's just constantly smoked and flamed. Nice counter utility here. MiBR reading the situation and dealing with it swiftly by burning Glaive into the open, cutting him down, and now trying to give chase to Zipex, who's ejected from Banana. They will reside in the site of support inbound. It's of course going to be Device with his optimal.
Stewie setting up for a very light fake. You know, if this even holds someone for 3-4 seconds on B, that's a win. For 300 bucks, they'll take that every day. In this situation, 2 on A, that's going to be a hard site to hold.
Especially with these positions, I mean, they're just so exposed. They're so in the open. And now they're actually going to walk forward here. So trying to catch the T's off guard with a shadow. That's a shadow angle that he's not anticipating a second player from. But still successfully killing the first and putting this in a 3v1. Device comes over to support, not finding an angle as of yet. He exposes himself, then he is so susceptible to the arch push, but there is nobody there. So he just has to gamble and hit a flick like that because the time is what makes the difference. Astralis locking it down thanks to Lady Luck and the timing on the clutch. It is just
suspect their own smoke, which is fair sometimes just because it's only one smoke, but that was clearly, as we saw, it worked really well.
Right. I also feel like if the bomb carrier as well isn't caught overextending around the box a bit, then it never gets thrown out into the open. It doesn't need to be retrieved. Quite a few what-ifs. Some minimal differences could have spelled out the result. Tempted Magisk is to peer around that corner.
Oh, he's probably bloodthirsty right now. Tomato Man's yet to come into full force. Oh, don't give him a shoulder.
So make it through the chest. Glaive left alone now, trying to call for reinforcements, and Device is coming over. There's a gap, and he lines it up. Substantial damage from Glaive with a frag to follow suit, but Fallen, he's too accustomed to playing Astralis. He knows those frags are always flying. Magisk, as you said, bloodthirsty, and for good reason now. As he tries to upgrade into the AK, Fur may anticipate that there's not a second player here.
Actually played him really well, and Glaive was really patient, even hits the head, but it's not enough. Coldzera is totally ready. Dupree, though, to come back to try to answer with his own frag, leaving Coldzera alone. Red HP has the bomb and a sight, but does he know that? Does he know the rotation hasn't come out quite yet? It's actually a Device to gamble on it being a B hit, and as an opper, he's going to lack mobility. He's going to have to make a read. This is a round Coldzera should never lose. Even though he's so low HP, no, Device is making a hasty rotation back. There's still so much time burned off the clock at this point. Coldzera could be anywhere.
This is a big one as well. Cold, he's laid down that smoke over towards Moto's side, and I don't know about this. He's just going to go for the small pit. This is giving a lot of space and a lot of respect to Device. If you can just play that whack-a-mole, peek up and drop down, then sure, you may spot him, but Device, it's just going to take a single shot. Device is flying as Cold wins the round. A big clutch from Coldzera. A valiant effort there from Astralis to shut down that entire A play. You saw everybody being tagged up in the process. Glaive in from behind. The push-up through the apps. But it takes more than that to stop Coldzera.
Yeah, they were constantly a nuisance in this round. Like, as we can see, dupreeh playing the buddy system with Magic's coming up late to kill Fur, and then getting extra damage here, even taking down Fallen. Coldzera just barely getting that kill by the skin of his teeth. Such low HP, could have been a victim of the spray transfer. We wouldn't even seen that round being won. But now, we have a round MiBR actually were able to win against all odds. And Astralis still look fearsome as ever.
And that was the importance of the previous round. Again, can't be understated. Look at the results. CZ's pistols, a couple of bits of utility is all that's afforded here from Astralis. And MiBR are still fighting valiantly to get themselves a lead on this first half. It's possible. Perfect. And they're already man down, but it's starting to come back their way. And with plenty of time left over, they don't have to expedite the process.
Yeah. It's a round of team damage. I think it looked more tragic than it was, though, with Tarek being so low when he got shot. But at the end of the day, it's a man down. And now dupreeh, mid spot. Blue guy on the corner. They fall back, and MiBR start to consider constricting around the A site. The problem is they cannot get too thinned out.
Hello?
Oh my gosh. That is the definition of gypped. He took as much time as he needed with a P250 to lock that down, and he couldn't get the headshot.
I need new glasses. That one's dead on.
I think they might still be working well.
dupreeh, though, he's up close. He's got the elevation surprise, but still he dies. Fallen just wrapping around the box and creating the space for this plant, which will just push Glaive back to the save. So
Oh my god.
they work their way thoroughly and slowly enough through that A site defense to ensure nobody's caught off guard. You always have to be cautious when there's CZs in hand.
Yeah.
The pocket AKs. I mean, all it takes is one corner unchecked, a couple of players go down, guns picked up. I mean, MiBR have fallen victim to it previously. And with that fresh on your minds, you're not allowed to let it happen again.
Absolutely not. It'd be totally unforgivable. And now Glaive.
Huh.
Whoa, just spots a dragon lore.
Huh.
There's some free loot on the floor. He is up and out of there. I wonder if MiBR were aware of what was there. However, they are taking the more standard route as the walls, and Glaive finds his frag, lets them know that he is wielding the big gold gun.
And he keeps it. Moves the dragon forward.
And that goes to Device, who actually has a very nice spawn. Not the ultimate, and this is just kind of sad. I think he was down to 15 HP from Magisk, who actually dinked him with the CZ before he was killed. But it's always important to see how it happens.
As you alluded to, that spawn for Device was really good for potential mid-peak, but when you're the only weapon in the round for Astralis, I think maybe you decide not to get overzealous.
Yeah, fair point. Now, there is going to be the need for him to, at some point, make a play. But definitely going to want to make it a calculated risk if possible.
Shot from Device. Just utterly denying hangs around. And even though he only gets one kill, that's still good enough. I mean, it's a 2-for-1 thanks to Device's positioning.
Yeah, there's the graveyard of weapons now, just here at the top of halls, and an unfavorable situation for MiBR, who on one side want to try to camp these out, make sure they don't recover their AKs, but also just try to throw them over, but don't want to get caught off guard by a waiting pistol trap. Who knows what's around that corner?
That could have been another. That was very ballsy. Eagle in the back of the site sees the man drop in pit. dupreeh is not playing here with Device. This is a commitment hit. The corner cleared. Coldzera not one to deal with said gimmick. Just busts the site wide open. Now that AWP can still keep itself up. Let me throw these pistol players forward, see what they can get done. But again, Astralis, no strangers to the save.
Oh, Zipix, he's going to recover an AK if they didn't. Yeah, they left him there.
He can still make this happen then. I mean, a CZ confirming the presence. That's the utility man for Glaive. So off of his grenades, we should see these pushes with the AK and op. Now Zipex comes wide, doesn't get the man in pit. Fallen just too quick, head on a swivel, playing around the side of this wall. Finally will drop. But again, the big question is time. I mean, that is the most significant issue.
Oh,
so
he can wait in pit.
they're just going to go for the kills at this point. Bomb's either going to blow them up, or the CTs pick up the frags. It is, of course, Astralis.
stayed alive, even though Coldzera did almost 60 damage, it felt like, in the back of pit. So recovering that off for the last round is imperative. And yeah, they could have gotten tricky for sure. But after that, all these shenanigans, and Hall's that amazing flick, by the way, just an obtuse flick up to the corner of his screen after turning his attention away. Magus gets traded out 1-for-1, and the frustration on the face of Dupree, for good reason, is it's literally just the last potentially 15 rounds of this entire tournament. This is blowing my mind.
Remember, Astralis, they won 6 in a row. That 7th round. We always played against them. MiBR have contained them in that regards, just out-buying and out-fragging at this point. We said that 8th round, it's still MiBR's to take. You assumed that at a 6-1 scoreline, Astralis would at least walk away with majority of rounds. But man, what a turnaround.
A huge comeback. A lot of attention has been on Halls in this half. It has been paramount to MiBR's success. Oh, and Device offered up just a sliver of hope. Maybe if there was another 10 milliseconds, that player was on his screen, he might have clicked. Wouldn't have put it past him to hit it either. But it seems like it's action time, Connor.
Maybe they'll delay just a bit more here, Mohan, because the smokes would not facilitate the push. Don't stand up just yet. Still continuous utility usage. Still enough on Astralis as well to really obscure this execution. It's the advantage to MiBR on the nades. The wall is up. Flurry of smokes have gone over the rooftops, blanketing A in cover, but not dealing with the players who still stand here. It is a heavy defense presence. The flashbang is good, but the entry is denied. Flurry comes in from the corner and matches from the pit. Astralis will keep majority of these rounds. Final 15.
Victories are within reach, and Astralis don't feel comfortable.
We've got the reigning major champions and the returning Blast champions here.
This tournament was a given.
Yep. 15 rounds, let's go. Smoking kit for Fallen, 4-man bracket defense from MiBR. This looks to me like a read.
They got the 2-2. Looking for the pincer move, and Fur is actually here as to bait his teammate to wait in the smoke if they decided to jump through it. Fallen gets his head clapped.
That's a quick snap on the snout.
They haven't rotated.
No, they just stayed. Feel as though, again, read into something here. But the problem with this positioning is that it opens up balcony entirely. I mean, that is wide open. And they've lost a player on Arch. Now, these two porch defenders become so susceptible if that mid-man doesn't go down. Now that he has the CTs to try and lock off this cross. With bomb thrown out into the open, things get tricky. We've got a man advantage for MiBR, looking to cut back this lead. And 45 seconds for Astralis to try and wiggle their way out of pit. They have to worry about Fallen, but Fallen has to worry about them, because remember, he was gushed from the B site, so that rotator's weak. But what's not weak is this man up in Apps who's been spotted. Zipex knows, and so he's gonna plant in a safe corner. Coldzera's gonna come peeking wide, and the man in pit is safe. Device rails him with a perfect headshot onto Tarek. That's crucial. Now they have information. It's Fallen tagged from the B site as a rotator, and whoever's up here in Apps just comes flying outwards. Coldzera actually manages to get his feet on the ground. Now Fallen's dealt with swiftly. They have Cold in a pickle, a pinch, and he's got no way out of it other than superb accuracy. 6 shots in the and none of them will land. It is MiBR to lose this pistol.
Oh, that was an unbelievable recovery from Astralis, and that 2v3, they had nothing going for them. They had to come out of pit to get the bomb. Fallen played it as patiently as he possibly could, and they had that big flank coming out with Tarek consistently being a nuisance, but not even dying. They delayed for the longest amount of time possible, and Astralis still snuck onto the site, put the bomb down in good cover, and were able to defend and hit all their shots in the 2-on-3. That was amazing from Astralis. That's not a round that you had any chance of winning most of the time. Like, that is a great recovery.
Magisk obviously elated with the importance of a pistol. A stark difference here is the second round from Astralis features 5 SMGs. Remember that when MiBR flubbed their second round in the first half, they gave over a Galil and 2 Kalashnikovs. So very different hardware here for Astralis. I think they're just as susceptible to the potential force buy win, seeing as MiBR are well equipped and obviously well skilled. But if they do manage to lose this, it's not as though they're giving over the biggest of guns. So less to lose, but still so much to gain. The money, the conversion rounds early, the double digits so quickly secured. I mean, Astralis, they've actually given up close halves to multiple teams now. I believe it was close earlier today versus MiBR on Dust 2. And then it was a clean sweep in the second half.
NIP.
NIP on Nuke, exact same scenario. Close first half. It looked as though Astralis weren't invincible. But it's all false confidence and superb second halves. So let's see if this is a third example of that.
And we have that armor play here. CZ's in hands. Equal distribution among the sites. CT's bringing off headshots already. And there's another one. Tarek doing everything but hitting the head, leaving Zipix wounded, but still up.
Here's the big push, though. Wonder if Stu gets spotted. He emerges from the smoke, gets one kill for Zipix. The CZ spam is good enough to deal some damage, but the problem with the spam like that is you're left with this. Bomb's been planted. Running out of ammunition. Just maybe now trying to go for the save. Fallen, lucky to be alive at this point, so yeah, count your blessings, tuck your tail, and just save for the next one.
No, absolutely. It's not a regret if you could try it again, so. That obviously doesn't apply to all circumstances of life.
I was gonna say.
Just a forewarn, I know we have a younger audience out there. But yeah, having to be able to not rebuy armor and CZs in the next round, it's going to cause so much fear in Astralis. And again, this is something we always talk about that they do really well, is just knowing when a fight's over. And so Astralis with the lead. First team to get the elimination. We've seen that happen before. Mac 10 recovered from Fur, and he'll take that into the next round as well. Or did I read that wrong? No. Oh, I guess he didn't get the kill. I guess Fur was the one who, I don't know what happened, Connor, but something happened on that last round.
Guns were shooting, some
it.
people dying, and at the end of it, it's still Astralis with a 3-point lead. That's what's important.
Right, yeah.
And obviously upgrading into the AKs now, right? A couple of rifles thrown into the mix. Those SMGs replaced and upgraded.
Nico and a rifle, and they're back on fire. Astralis started to crawl away with this. MiBR tried their hand at stealing back in eco, but they couldn't give Astralis a taste of their own medicine.
Of course, remember that it was a 6-1 scoreline at the start of this game for Astralis, so strong starts don't transition into lopsided halves. MiBR, when turned into a caged beast, can sometimes get rabid. And I'd love to see it come out now. Show the teeth, release the claws. Start ripping these Danes limb from limb. There's not many teams in the world that can even contest Astralis, so for MiBR to be being this close, I'd say is a good sign in terms of the competition.
But they are going to be extremely salty if they lose this. This will be a huge victory either way now. It didn't come easy for either team. And they obviously have that respect, you know, it's just... And this round is not going to come free either. Damage has been dealt, down to 35 seconds. First still got a CZ, he's got his frag. And Clave's here to try to take attention away from A, but there are already 3 people here. There's not much more he can do.
That's a big kill.
This is interesting, 20 seconds, the bomb's going back to B.
Yeah, it's gonna try to scuttle its way inwards. Now, Stewie, the smoke fades just in time, but he can't land a shot, and Glaive over the shoulder removes Fur in the process. There was a chance there, a possibility, with high probabilities that MiBR could have stopped that.
Unreal adjustment, actually, to go back to B. I mean, they technically walked back into what would have been a stack, but I don't know. I don't even know what sounds were heard from both sides that helped them allude to the fact that this was a safe thing to do. Whether it be MiBR giving up on the stack or Astralis coming right back thinking that maybe they'll leave. I don't think Glaive heard them rotate, but I guess his presence was just enough.
What's wild too is that Stewie and Fur were the ones leaving the B site. They were heading out towards CT spawn, so had that hit even come maybe 5-6 seconds later, they would have found only one player there in an attempt to defend. So lucky to have still been near. Another round for Astralis. This is now a 4-point lead, but for the first time on this CT side, MiBR have guns.
Yeah, They take this rifle. They're back on fire. Stewie 2K has only got to defend with just a FAMAS. And most players on MiBR are lacking in frags. You know, in a situation on CT side where they will be dispersed. It'll be Summit A, Summit B, some on Arch specifically, lots on Boiler. Who knows? Everybody's got to contribute.
No weak links can be afforded here. Wow, what a push from Fallen. Trying to lead by example as he just flies around the corner of Banana. Device happy to go toe-to-toe. Wants even more so of a duel, but it is MiBR to fall back here. Again, it's important for all individuals to step up on Inferno because you are spread, but it's also very important for everyone to have grenades. Utility so crucial on a map like this. Which means once a team starts getting close to the finish line, once you start forcing, you're really trying to spell disaster, but they faded off, and Stewie peeks wide just enough to get a single kill. Fur pinned into the box. They know he's here, but that's not going to stop him from hitting headshots. Magis just gets plowed on his attempt to push from the truck, but now look at this go. It's traded yet again. It's all fallen onto Zipex. You know, 1 versus 3. The bomb site's being swarmed, and he's fully blind, but not dispatched of. He announces himself and goes for the reload. The peek from Tarek is good, and that is MiBR with an early gun round and a crucial win in this form. 3 players alive, an easy rebuy, and a very real chance at a continuation here.
An incredibly bare bones defense. 2 people, one at spools, one at first oranges, and as Fur was boosted up, he even got spotted falling off. Using his Molotov perfectly, hitting the shot through the wall on the player who had crossed the pool after he was flashed by his teammate. Everything really fell into place, but he did make the most of his circumstances, and then also repositioning to second oranges to mismanage the comms of the other team who tried to call out where he was.
3, 4 Molotovs now just being thrown every which way towards Banana. Again, that utility usage is so key in exerting early control. We have Device on the other side, the front runner for this B offensive. Oh, what a flick. Device just sticks it to Fallen. Stewie retreats into the bomb site. He has no support from Fur. He has to single-handedly hold it down. And he does deal substantial damage. That's something for them to be proud of. Something for MiBR to work with. But this is a save, Launders. This is the kind of clean execution and just smooth push into a bomb site that gets Astralis around.
That was such a disgusting flick from Device, and it obviously wasn't even with an op this time. It was on and off. Fallen didn't even have time to click, let alone react or even try to flick. And if they could do that again, obviously, that would be something special. I think one thing to note, you know, for people who aren't used to Astralis' Inferno is one thing that's special is just how often Zipex is playing at the sandbags in front of the smoke. That's like one of those things that you can't really teach someone to do because they also, besides learning like all these different scenarios that they need to fly, you've also got to
MiBR, they're finding weaknesses.
Yeah.
And the Astralis are exploiting them.
If the comeback happens, we'll definitely see all of those stats pick up.
Exactly.
You don't want to live and die by them, but at the end of the day, they do mean something. They also know that. So we've seen MiBR expel a lot of utility onto Banana, but not follow up by trying to hold or control it. Instead, kind of loosely having fall and pick an angle, work with it for a second, and then maybe fall back or get one tapped by Device. But on this round, it's been called out one more time, and there's no one there at the top of Banana to stand as a last line of defense, to delay for time, which they desperately need to do. And instead are going to rely on a very unlikely sight hold between 2 players in a crossfire.
It's a matter of timing with this smoke. If Fallen can get it down fast enough, then it's going to delay the entirety of this execution. Or they have to do the very risky thing of running through it. But smoke goes down at their feet, and it looks like they're going to try to charge past. At least Magis will. I mean, he's in the open, so that's an easy pickup for Stewie, who then takes the place of the corpse, looks away from the flash, and the kills come trickling in. MiBR, attempting to lock down this site, will have to give up a couple bodies, leaving them still in a man advantage. The A rotators come over, and Glaive is denied any further presence from Fur, and Zipex has to clutch. An incredible player. We always praise him for this ability. But it's going to have to be a cerebral play because he has no utility. The bomb is planted for him, and if he bails out towards Banana, he may think it's clear, seeing as Tarek is actually a little slow on this push-up. But if Zipex also hides in a corner, who knows what's going down. Terex actually has a great off angle, but again, unsuspecting to Terek's late lurk. I like that from Terek. Just play it extra cool, let your other two teammates make that first move, and then with the element of surprise, grab your team in 9th round.
Yeah. I feel like Steven Seagal wouldn't have been able to work his way out of that one. That might have been a little bit too much to ask, but can we highlight how well Stewie plays in the site there? He's obviously got a great flash from his teammate in CT to assist him in getting his next kill, trusting it, tucking his face into the coffins, and then turning around to finish off the player in pool, and then sliding back across the site over to oranges and understanding where the next fight will come from. The guy who jumps up to tries to trade. And that's again another type of engagement that's so hard to teach someone to do on the fly, but you can see how his mind was working. And it ended up paying off for MiBR. But again, I'm a little bit concerned as an onlooker of the CT defense to, I want to say, waste the grenades on Banana without following up with any kind of presence to try to also finish a kill off on Banana before allowing the 5v5, before allowing Astralis to get to the top of it and think about and execute. But now we're back on A.
First time we've seen this off position. Blinded was Terek, and he falls onto the head of Cold. They work their way back into the safety and cover of Pit.
Rotation's been pulled. You can see the relay as player 1 has decided to overstack on A while the bomb has clearly changed its mind.
I mean, poor Stewie, he's going to be alone on this B site hit again, but famously holding this B site in high pressured situations, and now that he's put down a smoke, this could delay it just long enough for a rotator to come over. I mean, at what point do MiBR give up on this 4-man A stack?
They don't want to be sold a bill of goods. They don't want to think that it might be a double fake.
Stu gets the first, and he's actually able to fall back ever slightly. He hasn't lost any health either. This is a full bar of HP to try and contest the site. 20 seconds left in this fight, and he's now done that. He's delayed it long enough, and things are about to get frantic. They just continue to fall, and it looks like Stewie may have won this round, single-handedly locking it down. It is MiBR to double digits.
Unbelievable. That's like a Nico-esque performance on the B site, to be left completely alone on the gamble that it might be A. Just left destitute by all of his teammates, stacking the site, even the op leaving him and going over towards A. In the hands of Fallen, and still, he comes up with the 3 frags at the end of the day. I mean, this is the only way that they win this. This is the only way that MiBR gets to double digits this early. Complete monster.
And that's not the first time that he does that, right? Think back, Boston E-League Major Championships, and who's sitting in the back of the B site just being a thorn in their side. Yeah. Officially renamed.
Yeah.
Now look at the result of this, the Deco. A couple of CZs, Magisk, a barbecue and Banana.
And here they stand and face. They throw their nades down, they're picking their anti-ecos to make it seem as if they are giving a lot of attention to Banana. And that might actually work out quite well. Fur's gonna have some pressure applied, but he's just fine with that. Terek as well, taking a fight into his own hands. Downing Zipix, resulting in what would be pretty much the cleanest anti-eco that we've seen from MiBR. Astralis have had no problem having clean anti-ecos. They're super solid. This is a pretty big win. This is a pretty big win. Just going ahead and collecting the round win bonus along with keeping all of their utility. And because the round ended so early, so much utility. And the greatest sign of health on CT side is the conversion of AKs. We've already got 3. Astralis still have a very, very decent buy. They've still got a lot of options. I know they see an opportunity on Banana, and I feel like that still is exploitable. And we haven't even seen all of their AKs yet. There's still actually so much in the playbook on Astralis to be seen.
Yeah, that's what I look forward to seeing, right, is how they're going to change things up, because I feel like Stewie's giving them a good reason to start avoiding B. And on top of that, remember, even when Stewie's alone, it's become a difficulty. So if they do happen to head out towards this A site, it has more often than not had a majority presence from the defense. This round would be no different. Terek, not flashed off of his position, is actually given a chance to use it. Bird has to let them cross to CT spawn. This puts Fallen in an awful spot. Can he lock it off his own? Yes! Nice flick onto the head of Magisk. Destroyed in his stance, but Zipex takes his place, and even now, Fallen still just flirting with the idea of falling back. Sure enough, okay, he's taken down, but Zipex is now pinned into an awkward spot. He's got players coming in from all directions, so he too overtaken, and thus leaving the remainder of Astralis split.
Wow, there's actually a chance here. Depending on how, if the bomb is spotted early, which it actually isn't, Device actually gets caught off guard. Could have caught Tarek rotating if he had known there was someone there. But now it's just Glaive.
Just Glaive alone. Slain by Tarek, now starting to come to life. A good multi-frag for him here towards this A side. I think that's what he needs. Everybody picking up the pieces. Everybody above now 10 or more kills for MiBR. It's got to be a team effort if you're going to take down the best in the world.
There it is, Tarek from his free house. Falling back to default. Laying down the law. Started out this half with 4 frags. It's been a long road back, but his team has helped him out. Stewie winning those rounds on B. Everybody's contributed to give him the number of opportunities he has to get back into the game. But it looks like the pressure's not off.
This is a big fast one. Zipex actually catches Fallen. He's not able to retreat, and so it's going to be Stewie again contested on this B site. His reinforcements come in the form of Coldzera, and a 2-man push down. They've retreated to M4. That is in the hands of Glaive. Stubox cleared. Zipex has been the difference maker here. His absolute and utter aggression, that's not something you look from him, but now another! Magis with a side, and it is Astralis through and through.
Oh my god. What a... Until the map is over, then we can kind of reinvestigate, but at this point, as we keep saying, it's still anyone's game. Back to Banana. Not a lot of nades expelled by the CTs here, and I actually feel like these are pieces of utility they could have just saved for the execute. They have given up Banana after throwing their Molotovs and then just falling back to the site. They have only delayed for an extra 5-10 seconds. Astralis have had no time or no problem executing with enough time remaining. Why not hold on to the Molotovs, potentially use them as the site players come in? We saw how valuable it was to Fur in that situation where he held from oranges. So, I like that they're keeping their options open.
The smoke they go, Coldzera just waiting for that.
They want. I mean, it's like we're in OT, basically. We're going to have the longest, best rounds possible and the most action that we've ever seen.
Astralis are on the brink of a break economically. They were just hard reset with that retake. This is it. If they lose this round, the bank accounts are bottomed out. $1,900 is all they'll get for a loss, short of any kills they happen to take. It's good that it was calculated in the sense that they get all their utility. This is the fullest of buys. Sure, no op included, but it's not like you need it on the T side. They've been rifling just fine.
Important to note, Astralis took no nade damage this round. You know, they did a great job avoiding it. Device just a little bit tagged, but that's it. Both teams have been great about that.
This is another instance where they're just going to throw the bomb back behind them. Talk about nade damage. Fallen can't avoid it.
Yeah, those are the offensive grenades too, much harder to hit.
After showing their hand in the form of a couple frags, they have moved back entirely towards this A site.
Fallen. He's already taken the liberty of moving back through spawn. You can see him in the buy zone now. Wants to take over Arch, where Fur has been consistent. Cold has been consistent, and now it's his turn.
Arch side, not yet under pressure. It's looking like a complete and utter push-up truck lane. Fur's looking to flash and obscure this. 4 players blinded by that flashbang. 25 seconds. Tarek is not going to get kills, but it's still such a crossfire. Still
fire at this point. We're going back and forth, tit for tat at this point. Every round means the world. Astralis in the lead. They can taste it. They can taste victory. This is their tournament.
Be another title to their ever-growing collection. Currently hanging on to most of the major championships.
Full passive setup from MiBR. Dangerous territory. Dangerous territory. They've shown huge individual prowess between the 2 people that have been there, even when one has failed. The other has come through. But you can't use that as a sustainable route for victory. They have to rely on rotations. They have to rely on utility.
Big play is not the reliable crutch. Team play, trade frags, and solid holds is what they need. This time, nobody's over towards pit. Nobody's playing a gimmick position. There's no boosts. It is a kernel defense within A in the form of Tarek and Cold. We have Fur here to support, and he has to keep his eyes on that smoke. The potential for the arch wrap is huge. Fallen comes over, but it's Stu with that op alone on B. One player per team, still just feeling out that other portion of the map. 25 seconds, and it looks like a wrap. Fur goes down for free. This is going to enable the bomb wrap over towards the B site. Sure, Stewie, he has the cannon. He can fight at a distance, but you've got 3 players so completely overwhelmed by smoke at A that you'd think Stewie can do this. There's 10 seconds left, and he's gotten himself into cover. All he needs to do is stop this plant. They need it now, and Stewie doesn't do it. It looks like Astralis have managed another round. The save has been called, and it is 2 more chances or an Astralis Grand Championship.
Oh, you're splitting hairs on that moment. That op shot between 3 players, who knows who it would have hit. But Astralis played that magnificently. The way that they took over Arch, immediately exploded into CT spawn and didn't stop and didn't look back, just completely had their blinders on. Just crushed him in the side. I mean, once again, they have done a great job isolating him. As good as he has been, they have done a fantastic job of making his job difficult by tricking his teammates into leaving him alone over and over and over again.
Still performed well enough, either delaying it with rotation or just single-handedly shutting it down. I mean, it's been there. It takes a fantastic type of player to pull that off.
Yeah, and team. And they're just, this is a battle of 2 titans right now, but this could be the last round.
The fact that he jumps to new box is so big. Let's see the kill that shuts him down there from Dupree.
Oh, he has the body block and everything. Who knows? Maybe he hits that, maybe it doesn't even kill them, and he knows how close he was, but that's not a round you can think about at this point. They've still got to stay focused. OT's not out of the question.
Absolutely
as
not.
close as overpass.
Absolutely not impossible. This from Tarek could have been an opening fight, but he doesn't want to fancy his chances. He doesn't want to force the issue. Retreats ever slightly. Utility is going to be so crucial in this round. We have seen Astralis just burn it down in terms of time. And this angle from beneath the haystack, that might actually be uncontested if Coldzera. That's huge. He's watching the haystack, and he stopped him. Oh, he's got himself another! He's inside of the pit. He's got a teammate here to pinch, and a rotation from Fallen is already a part of the equation. They just can't seem to get past, so the flash does keep this back. Fur, however, falls. Glaive clearing the flank, and this is Astralis. You do not sleep on these situations. You do not count them out in these scenarios. We have seen it happen all too many a time. And what a way it would be to close out this tournament if they can manage a 2 versus 4 on this A site. They still have 30 seconds, but that 30 seconds seems to be ticking incredibly quickly. Glaive hunting an angle. Device knowing he's going to be susceptible once he walks out through that door. He'll be on full display. Still, all 3 CTs on A. It's 10 seconds left. This is here or now. Glaive goes down. A 30th round will decide.
Individual play. It saved them time and time again, but the Straws have always maintained the lead. Just a slight edge overall. And they know that their playbook is deep enough, that there are so many threats left over that MiBR haven't even seen yet.
The playbook is deep and the skill even deeper. Some of the best here for the Danes. We talk about big multi-frags from Cold, but we know anyone on Astralis can throw one back the other way. And on top of that, they have the structure. A constant challenger MiBR. This would be huge if they can at least even contest. But how many times have Astralis played with the hopes and dreams of a contending team only to break them at the final line? That is what champions are made of. The ability to stay cool under pressure. To not let these rounds slip.
A true test right here.
And again, it's going to be A, isolated. Fallen will be that B anchor. Stewie's the first to rotate if need be. While we still have Tarek in the pit, It's Fur to lock down the arch side. Coldzera now plays from within the bomb site itself on the first box. A very tricky position now as he works over top of the smoke. He needs the flashes. He pulled away, but he too pulled off.